Hello, I am focusing on page 15 in the Hal Leonard Guitar Method, Book 1. This piece is by French composer Claude Debussy on Clair de la Lune, and it's a duet. We have two parts. You see in your music it has part 1 and part 2 all the way down, and you must follow. If you play part 1, you must follow part 1, which is on the top. And if you play part 2, you must follow part 2. Now, what I want you to do, but even before you get to this duet stage, play a duet with me, I want you to make sure you know the notes on in part 1 and part 2, because you're responsible for both of those. So, and how I want to play this duet is I want you to go play part 1 all the way down to the bottom, and then we're going to repeat it, and then you'll play part 2 without stopping in between. I think you can do it. So it takes a little bit of concentration. So basically we're going to play it all the way through twice. But we'll switch parts after the first time, and I'll do the opposite of what you're doing. Okay, so you're going to play part 1, and let me go through part 1 first, and then I'll go through part 2 right after that. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. So that was part 1. So go back and rewind that and go over that many times until you get it right. You get all those notes. Keep your eyes on the music and let your fingers do the walking on the guitar. Now, this is part 2. It's going to be a harmony part. It won't sound exactly like part 1, but it will be the same rhythm. So you have quarter notes in part 1, you'll have quarter notes in part 2, but you'll form harmonies. So play part 2 with me. 1, 2, ready, play. Now comes the most fun part, I think, of playing duet, as we get to play different parts. So again, I want to reiterate that you're going to start on part 1. I'm going to play part 2 at the same time. We'll play that together. We'll form harmony. And then when you finish part 1, you get down to the bottom of that, I want you to go directly to part 2 and start playing part 2. So that in the space of the whole note, you can adjust your eyes and go right to part 2. You might want to pencil that in your book. And right after part 1, go to part 2. Play to the end. All right? So here we go. You're playing part 1. You're starting off in part 1. 1, 2, ready, play. part 2. You ready? One. All right, hopefully you had fun with that. It's a fun thing to do a duet. One person play one part, another person play another part. You might do that with a brother or sister, mother or father, a friend that plays guitar, or another instrument. You can always do that and sound good, or you can play it for friends with me on video.